Hey guys, welcome to the weekly commentary video. Had some interesting moves this week. The market's got a bit of a heartbeat to it going into the end of the year. So not the Euro US dollar here. Unfortunately, I think the US dollar is quite stagnated, actually sort of flatlining going towards 2019. So the Euro US dollar here, pretty difficult to trade, and we're kind of avoiding this kind of structure at the moment. The general kind of, if you gun to the head kind of response I would give is probably it is looking to hold at the support here. So if anything, I'm slightly bullish on it, thinking that the support is going to hold, but we don't really have any kind of structure that we can work with at the moment. The pound here is not looking that tradable either. Again, someone put a gun to my head and said, which way would you trade? Probably long, because we're sitting on the range bottom here. The general idea last week was to look for a strong support, buy signal of support there, but it's very tightly grindy, kind of choppy price action at the moment. Some of you guys in the war room did leave some comments about some big news coming out next week regarding Brexit, and the volatility is pretty much pending. So we'll probably see some action on this next week. That's probably why it's gone to a slow halt. If there is something big coming up politically, then it's probably going to stall until then. The US dollar yen looking neat here on this trend line. So obviously buy opportunities here are welcome. Let's just check what's going on with that wick. So we did have some rejection off that level here. I'd be looking for any decent buy signals off higher lows here on the intraday timeframes as well, doing the top-down analysis technique where we just see what's going on the higher time frame, and then we can sort of drill down, see what's going on the lower time frames here. And yeah, watch for a decent buy signal to pop up there to signal communication of this bounce off this trend line. The US dollar Swiss franc finally. This signal is finally playing off, but only after that the market went sideways there, which is unfortunate, and it may have tapped some stop losses there. So a bit disappointing. It's a good looking signal, but the market just didn't follow through quick enough. US dollar CAD, it's actually still looking quite bullish here, even after a harsh correction. We're still seeing the market pick up off this trend line here. So let's have a look at the 4 hour. So yeah, we got a bit of a bounce off here. I'm not sure if I like the idea of buying up here. It might work out. Let's check the weekly first before I make a comment. Okay, so yeah, it looks like if the market's going to continue moving up, we've got a bit of room here to the next weekly resistance. It could work out. I guess you've got a bit of a swing level through there as well. Yeah. All right. So a decent buy signal here would fit the story with what's going on with this trend line and high highs, high lows. We've still got a bit of buffer room before we tap into that major weekly level there. So we could look out for buy signals. US dollar, Singapore dollar, I had this trade going on here. Left that note there. I was just seeing what was happening on the intraday chart, and you can see it's quite a big mess. So let's check the daily. So daily, yeah, as long as it holds underneath this trend line, I think we're golden here, but we've got a bit of bullish pressure coming in. So hopefully there's a bit more of a bearish response next week. I can get rid of that now. I'll just go back to that. The idea was to break out and retest of this trend line. There's a bit of rejection there. The Aussie dollar still falling. Okay, so why is that all squished up there? So the Aussie dollar is still falling. Not sure where it's going to stop. We could be seeing a dive to the range bottom here, which would be a pretty extreme dive. But something happened to the Aussie and the New Zealand dollar this week. They just got very, very weak. So that's just been like a power train here. So yeah, if it does correct, we can look for sells on lower highs and see if we can tap into this bearish momentum. But at the moment, we don't really have anything to work with. The New Zealand dollar looks like it's going through a correction. So it actually does look like the Australian dollar has got cancer, but the New Zealand dollar is holding its ground. I mean, this just looks like a normal correction. If the market starts busting through the mean value there, then we're going to start looking pretty bearish there. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure what the New Zealand dollar is trying to do. Oh, hang on, let's go check this weekly chart out. So that weekly candle is very ominous. That does look like it really wants to drop down. So yeah, okay, so weekly chart's looking very, very bearish there with that weekly close. So yeah, with that in mind, I would probably look for sell signals on lower highs to catch any further continuation of that. Something off here, off a lower high would be good. I want to see that kind of like V-shaped little bounce there, like a dip into lower lows and then a correction into lower highs. That kind of, not this is a very like ultra sharp retest where we break down and retest it in one candle. We're kind of looking for a decent kind of V-shaped structure, and then looking for a sell signal here on a lower high. The Aussie New Zealand dollar, as a result of that weak Aussie dollar and then New Zealand dollar holding its ground, then the Aussie New Zealand dollar is tanking as the Aussie dollar weakens further away. We're just looking for sell signals to ride this bearish trend. So we're going to wait for a correction next week. Here we have the golden spot, this nice little hot spot here for a sell signal. If the market can correct up there and drop a sell signal for us. Gold is looking quite bullish. Someone did post an idea about selling this. I did put my comment there that I was against that idea because we do have this higher low structure happening. We do have some good strong bullish candles here, and that does not look like a decent counter trend opportunity there. Like we've got a bit of resistance here, but it's not a major turning point or anything like that. So the momentum is bullish, and it's not a major weekly level where you would expect the market to turn around. So, and that is quite a weak looking sell signal as well. So that's what I kind of put in my response there, and it did pop higher. So gold is on the bull train again, and that means we should be looking for buy signals, and pretty much that's it. Silver is probably going to follow suit with gold and get on the bull train as well. It's starting to make some progress here, but you can see that the structure of silver is quite horrible, and no one in their right mind would be trading this right now. But it's probably going to break out soon, and when we see the breakout of this consolidation mess, then we can start looking for buy signals on higher lows. The euro pound popping up into higher highs this week. Fair enough, it's been a pretty crappy market, so we've got a nice intermediate resistance here. If the market does pop up and come back down, we'll be looking for buy signals here as the market tries to push up into that weekly resistance. So we'll have a swing trade opportunity there if that does print. This was my trade of the week. Took a mean reversion here on the Euro Aussie. I believe I put this as the chart of the day, and couldn't believe how responsive this was. This is how I think mean reversions should play out. Snappy, get to work straight away, and start giving good follow through. So it did start doing that pretty much immediately, and pretty much up here I took profit, I think, and it's still going. So that's awesome. I'll probably sit out of this chart at the moment because I'm not sure what the hell it's doing. If anything, you'd probably wait for a correction and maybe a buy signal, but it's got some weird structure going on at the moment. If it does keep rallying up though, we're going to get another mean reversion opportunity up the top here, so that'll be interesting if it does do that. If that Aussie dollar keeps tanking, it'll get to an overextension point here that we can actually catch another mean reversion to the downside. The Euro New Zealand dollar also going through a bit of a mean reversion there. It's probably, I can sort of, if this is a weekly level, we can start to see that inverted head and shoulders pattern, starting to take shape. Let's go to the weekly. The weekly has a very fat bullish rejection candle on there as well, so that is really a strong statement of strength coming off that weekly level. So I would imagine that this market is looking to move higher. So with that in mind, I'll be looking for buy signals off higher lows. Even if you want to hunt on the intraday timeframes, maybe we'll get a correction here. You can look for buy signals off higher lows off the 4-hour chart or 6-hour, whatever. Just look for bullish continuation of that weekly signal there using your top-down analysis. This was a note I left for the pound Aussie. I was looking for a mean reversion here as well, but I didn't enter into this one because I already went into the Euro Aussie, so we don't need this anymore. But this mean reversion did play out. This was quite potent as well. The Euro Aussie just had a better setup in my opinion, but we had a very strong gap here as well. Well, not so much that the Euro Aussie had a better setup. We kind of have some good points here. We had a weekly level, so that was a really strong plus. It's just that the Euro Aussie had the rejection candle that you could build the trade around, but here we had the same sort of response here with the strong reversion to the mean. The pound New Zealand dollar, just a small correction. We need to check the weekly chart just to see what's up here. So yeah, weekly chart's sort of showing that we want to push up next week. We've got a strong bullish rejection week printing for the week's close. Bit of a gap here on the weekly chart, so we have some potential to move up here. So we're sitting on the bottom of a very strong downtrend, waterfall here, this bearish waterfall. It's starting to sell down the bottom here. You're starting to have to ask the question, when does this trend end? Because we get these trends that are really nice, but they don't last forever. And if you start selling on the bottom here, you're putting yourself at risk of getting stomped over with that counter trend correction there. And that's really where the weekly chart can sort of give you a bit of insight. So the weekly chart really suggesting that the market wants to pop higher here. We may actually get a move up here. Not sure what will happen after that. We may get a sell signal up here. Not quite sure, but for the most part, it does look like it's bullish going into next week. EuroCAD popping out through its trend line here, so looking quite bullish. And we got a breakout and a sharp retest here, so we may have a buy signal. Not really. So nothing yet. So I'll be looking for further buy signals outside of this trend line on higher lows here. So if we get that next week, that would be a nice continuation flag of this trend line structure breakout. And you can see we've had a nice squeeze building up here, and it's popped on the longer term. So we have potential for good follow through here. Pound CAD, it just looks like a ranging market at the moment, so we'll just sort of like roughly plot those things there. My sister has arrived, so I might have to pause the video. Aussie CAD, actually very harsh correction. It may pick up off support here, we'll have to see. New Zealand dollar CAD, let's check the weekly. This trend looks a bit overextended now. And we've got a bit of a rejection week coming in here, so we have the threat of a bit of a mean reversion happening here on the weekly. So with that in mind, it looks like a great buy here, but with that weekly chart, I'm not quite sure. I mean, the weekly, yeah. I'm not sure with this one, because this daily trend looks pretty neat. If we do get a buy signal here, it wants to be pretty good for us to get into this. I'm kind of 50-50 with the weekly and the daily conflicting like that. The weekly chart is a bit tricky like that. Sometimes you can see signals like this, and the market just keeps pushing on. As you can see here, we had some, bullish rejection coming in here, kind of similar size. The market did sort of correct a bit, and then it just plowed through it. So the same thing might happen here. All right, so probably I'm leaning towards probably okay to catch a buy signal off this hot spot here. The daily trend looks very stable, and that weekly candle doesn't look too intimidating. Just probably a result of a short correction there. Euro yen, nope. Pound yen, we potentially could get something off support here, but remember that pending volatility next week. Aussie yen taking a huge dive, so whoever caught this mean reversion here would be laughing. There was a nice gap up, and if you shorted the break of that, for whatever reason, and you caught that move, congratulations. I'd just be looking for, you could look for potential sell signals on lower highs, but I don't know if this momentum is going to continue like this. We may get a correction up here, and we may get a sell opportunity. It may actually start ranging and come back up to here. Not quite sure yet, because this is quite awkward to try and forecast. New Zealand dollar yen, we can see that they've got a very large upside down V shape there, like mountain peak rejection. So it does look like bearish activity wants to continue. If I go to the weekly chart, we'll probably see a massive bearish candle. There it is. And that definitely makes the statement that the market wants to move down after that. So yeah, so looking for sell signals on lower highs here. You could even make a little chart note here, because that weekly candle is pretty beefy. CAD yen, not really interesting. Potentially you could sell on lower highs here. It's broken into lower lows, so you just watch for sells on lower highs. The CAD Swiss franc, it's retesting its trend line here, so potential buy signals here. We do have a bit of a gap from the mean as well, a little bit, so we do have a little bit of a priming for that mean reversion. So if we do get a buy signal here, the potential's there to bounce off the trend line. Pound Swiss franc, driving lower. We can get rid of this trend line here. If you want to trade this, I'd be looking for sell signals on lower highs here, and we're probably moving down into this support here. Euro Swiss franc, same thing, look for sells on lower highs. Aussie Swiss franc, it's the same thing as the Aussie yen there, so I'd probably sit this one out, just wait for the market to stabilize. If you're not in this move already, there's probably nothing you can do there. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, nothing really going on here. Potential double top here. Watch for sell signals on lower highs with that bearish momentum. Oil's stagnated this week, so not sure what's going to happen on that. We've probably got a mean reversion kind of situation on the weekly. We may get a pop higher. So if we go to the daily chart, if we get a really strong convincing buy signal here, we may be able to catch that weekly mean reversion. I had this as the chart of the day. I was looking for a buy signal in the US session. We can see we had a very negative session there. So I didn't see anything. If we go to the 1 hour, well, here we go, the 2 hour chart, we can see that there wasn't any buy signal here at all, and that was what I was kind of hoping for. So I didn't get into this trade at all. But still, next week we're on that support level, so we do get a strong buy off that support. We can definitely get on board with that, because this is the bottom of the range. The Dow as well on the hourly chart, just really tanking there. The Dow, I'd probably wait for a retest of that support down here before we start looking for buying opportunities. The US dollar just drifting sideways out of this channel here, so I'm not sure how relevant this channel is anymore. So yeah, just a flat market at the moment. Not going to touch that. China, nothing. Bitcoin, look for sell signals. It's still on its downtrend. This could be don't really watch it too much, but it could be some lost opportunity here. I'm just going to, whoops, I'm going to leave a note. Let's look for sell on lower high. it's probably going to be it's going to be the story with the rest of the crypto as well. Pretty much. And that's it. That's the end of the weekly commentary. Few things coming up next week. Just leave your notes on your charts, guys. I used to do it a lot. I'll try to do it again. It just helps, plan out a trade, be ready for it, and, plan the trade to plan kind of thing. And, yeah, guys, have a good weekend. Starting to step towards the end of the year now, so a couple of weeks left of decent trading, then we're going to be offline. And yeah, hopefully we can catch some good trades to finish the year off. So yeah, have a good weekend, and I will see you guys for trading next week on Monday.